All right, as we come back here, another late-night host at odds with network bosses. It's Stephen Colbert this time after he told his viewers he was stopped from airing an interview in order to steer clear of the FCC. Take a look at this.
You know who is not one of my guests tonight? That's Texas State Representative James Talarico. He was supposed to be here, but we were told in no uncertain terms by our network's lawyers, who called us directly, that we could not have him on the broadcast. Then I was told, in some uncertain terms, that not only could I not have him on, I could not mention me not having him on. And because my network clearly doesn't want us to talk about this, let's talk about this.
So CBS actually says they didn't say that. The network put a statement out disputing the Colbert account, saying that The Late Show was not prohibited from broadcasting the interview with Congressman James Talarico, but rather given legal guidance that doing so could trigger the FCC's equal time rule. They add, quote, The Late Show decided to present the interview through its YouTube channel with on-air promotion on the broadcast rather than potentially providing the equal time option. So with that, NewsNation contributor Mick Mulvaney joins us, former Trump chief of staff in the first Trump White House. Good to see you, Mick. A way to start, and then I want to really talk about Texas politics a little bit as well, but what do you make of this dust-up between Colbert, his bosses, and the Talarico interview?
Yeah, Connell, before I was at the White House, I was a member of Congress and ran 4 times for that office, and this rule was always of interest to me, because what this rule says is if you're going to put a candidate for office on TV during a certain window, and we're very close, by the way, to the Texas primary date, then you have to give any other legitimate candidates equal time.
On network
now, there's an
TV.
exclusion, has been for... That's correct. Over-the-air network TV, there's an exclusion for news. If you're running a news program, then it doesn't count. Now, the question that becomes is this late-night show with Stephen Colbert, is it news or not?
In the past, they used to say it was, right? And now Trump says no?
It wasn't news, then it was, and now it's not news again. It's not given an exemption for this particular type of coverage. The Late Show could have offered equal time to the other people running in the Democrat primary, for example, against James Talarico, and they chose, as you could see from the statement that the lawyers made, they chose not to do that. Keep in mind, the only reason we're having this conversation is because this is over-the-air broadcast. It would not apply to NewsNation, and does not apply to the YouTube channel. They ran the interview. You can go see the interview if you want to. You just couldn't see it over the air. Yeah,
I'm going to play a clip of it, not to talk about this topic anymore, but to talk about the political discussion and what happens in Texas. So Talarico's running in that primary against Jasmine Crockett, right? I know the Republican race is very interesting, too. Cornyn and Paxton and no Trump endorsement. Here from the interview that, again, was on the YouTube channel, Talarico on flipping Texas. Here's what he said.
I think that Donald Trump is worried that we're about to flip Texas. And across the state, there is a backlash growing to the extremism and the corruption in our politics. It's a people-powered movement to take back our state and take back our country. And I feel like we're building something really special in Texas, and clearly Donald Trump has taken note.
Okay, well, as early voting begins, I'm sure all this attention Talarico's getting from the Colbert thing is not going to hurt him in the primary. But what about the larger point that he started with? He thinks Trump's really worried about Texas.
It's a fascinating dynamic. What's happening is both parties have offered sort of an extreme populist candidate. Jasmine Crockett as sort of the progressive Democrat running against Talarico, sort of the mainstream establishment Democrat, and then Ken Paxton running against incumbent Senator John Cornyn. I know that there's another candidate, Wesley Hunt, running, but I'm not sure how he's doing in the race. There's a chance that Paxton could win and Talarico could win. In that circumstance, you've seen some data that might suggest it could be a competitive race. But a lot of things have to fall in place. The Democrats have to get the perfect candidate, and the Republicans have to get the not perfect candidate for this to actually be a race. But look, that's why we have primaries. They're both going to be close on both sides. There are Democrats who really, really don't want to see Jasmine Crockett win because they know she can't win. At least the polling would suggest she can't win statewide in Texas. Maybe Talarico can.
On the point about the Republicans, though, if that's all true, which the data shows it is, what you just said, then the president could endorse Cornyn and maybe help him as if he's a better general election candidate, but he hasn't.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.